The second book of Moses, commonly called Exodus. Chapter 1. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel who came into Egypt. Every man and his family came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. All the offspring of Jacob were 70 persons, and Joseph had come to Egypt before them. Then Joseph came to his end, and all his brothers, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fertile, increasing very greatly in numbers and in power, and the land was full of them. Now a new king came to power in Egypt, who had no knowledge of Joseph. And he said to his people, "See, the people of Israel are greater in number and in power than we are. Let us take care for fear that their numbers may become even greater, and if there is a war, they may be joined with those who are against us, and make an attack on us, and go up out of the land." So they put overseers of forced work over them, in order to make their strength less by the weight of their work. And they made store towns for Pharaoh, Pitom, and Ramses. But the more cruel they were to them, the more their number increased, till all the land was full of them. And the children of Israel were hated by the Egyptians. And they gave the children of Israel even harder work to do, and made their lives bitter with hard work, making building material and bricks, and doing all sorts of work in the fields under the hardest conditions. And the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew women who gave help at the time of childbirth, the name of the one was Shiphrah and the name of the other Puah, "When you are looking after the Hebrew women in childbirth, if it is a son you are to put him to death, but if it is a daughter, she may go on living." But the women had the fear of God, and did not do as the king of Egypt said, but let the male children go on living. And the king of Egypt sent for the women, and said to them, "Why have you done this, and let the male children go on living?" And they said to Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are strong, and the birth takes place before we come to them." And the blessing of God was on these women, and the people were increased in number and became very strong. And because the women who took care of the Hebrew mothers had the fear of God, he gave them families. And Pharaoh gave orders to all his people, saying, "Every son who comes to birth is to be put into the river, but every daughter may go on living." Chapter 7. And the Lord said to Noah, "Take all your family and go into the ark, for you only in this generation have I seen to be upright. Of every clean beast you will take 7 males and 7 females, and of the beasts which are not clean, 2, the male and his female, and of the birds of the air, 7 males and 7 females, so that their seed may still be living on the face of the earth. For after 7 days I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, for the destruction of every living thing which I have made on the face of the earth." And Noah did everything which the Lord said he was to do. And Noah was 600 years old when the waters came flowing over all the earth. And Noah, with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives, went into the ark because of the flowing of the waters. Of clean beasts, and of beasts which are not clean, and of birds, and of everything which goes on the earth, in twos, male and female, they went into the ark with Noah, as God had said. And after the 7 days, the waters came over all the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, all the fountains of the great deep came bursting through, and the windows of heaven were open, and rain came down on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. On the same day Noah, with Shem, Ham, and Japheth, his sons, and his wife and his sons' wives, went into the ark, and with them, every sort of beast and cattle, and every sort of thing which goes on the earth, and every sort of bird. They went with Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, in which is the breath of life, male and female of all flesh went in, as God had said, and the ark was shut by the Lord. And for 40 days the waters were over all the earth, and the waters were increased so that the ark was lifted up high over the earth. And the waters overcame everything and were increased greatly on the earth, and the ark was resting on the face of the waters. And the waters overcame everything on the earth, and all the mountains under heaven were covered. The waters went 15 cubits higher, till all the mountains were covered. And destruction came on every living thing moving on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and everything which went on the earth, and every man. Everything on the dry land, in which was the breath of life, came to its end. Every living thing on the face of all the earth, man and cattle and things moving on the face of the earth, and birds of the air, came to destruction. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark were kept from death. The Book of Obadiah. Chapter 1. The Vision of Obadiah. This is what the Lord has said about Edom: We have had word from the Lord, and a representative has been sent among the nations, saying,